exciting and fun adventure awaits. Everything that you need to begin your own dungeon adventure right at your very fingertips. Wizards, elves, dwarfs, heroes, and heroines align to fend off the monsters, dragons, and foul beasts that inhabit the fantasy worlds we live to play in. The Game Master Character Paint Set has everything you need to begin your own tabletop role-playing game, featuring 5 highly detailed snap-fit miniatures, a paintbrush, and 20 of the most essential colors to paint your miniatures with. Offered at an unreal price point that makes it easier than ever to get started. Combined with the Game Master Core Set, you and your party of heroes can develop complex dungeon tile layouts and terrain with the easy-to-use materials and guides found inside. Whether you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or if you're developing your own fantasy role-playing adventure, bringing your adventures to life has never been easier, because your adventure begins with Game Master by the Army Painter.
And we should be all here. There we go. It's actually working, mostly. And there it is. I think, yes, it seems to be working. Although now I have a video working that I wanted to pause. There it is. Pause it. That's me. Right. Hi, everyone. Dave here, Band of Badgers. We have never, in the 3.5 years since we have never started one properly. With no problems. There's always something just in that last second that either people try to make you laugh, which is what we saw on Critical Role, or it all just goes basically wrong in those last few seconds. But hi everyone, we're back. We're joined with us by Pro Painter. We've got Adam ABRAMOWICZ from the Army Painter. How you doing, Adam? Thank you for coming back.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's you're glutton for punishment, I see. But
yes.
We're going to be looking, you can see in the box above me, everyone, this is the product we're going to be looking at today. It's a fantastic box set of goodies and all kinds of things. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And over on the right hand side of your screen, that way, that right hand side, you'll see loads of images that we've put up as well. So that will kind of tick through. But joining me, you notice that Steve has got miraculously younger, is Ian. How you doing, Ian?
I'm pretty good, thank you, Dave. Very happy to be here. I'm playing the part of Steve today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready to paint some minis.
So Steve's out of the country at the moment. Ian was kindly volunteered by me to join us for today. So we put him in the co-host hot seat, and that's it. So if you have any questions, do shout out. Put them into the comments live chat thing. If you're watching this on YouTube, put them in the comments below, and we'll get you those answers as well. Hagley says Steve 3.0. Was there ever a 2.0 for Steve? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. Anyway, Adam, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this box above me. Now, this is me trying to make these minis that come in this box, because it's not just paints, it's minis. So what's the kind of quick elevator pitch from Adam, from Army Painter, about this box set?
Look, there's a lot of people that love to play RPGs, whether it's D&D,
Yes.
Pathfinder, their own home brews. They love to do it. And it's getting bigger than ever. There's more people coming to the table that want to give RPG a shot. And
Yep.
This is our gateway for them to do just that. This is the Game Master Character Starter Paint Set. It comes with 20 paints in 12 milliliter bottles. That's 6 mil, a little bit smaller than our normal war paints. Still the same size as some of the other guys out there. The reason we do that is because RPG players want more colors, not necessarily more volume. So there's 20 colors in that box set, along with 5 hard plastic, high quality snap fit minis. Yeah. You can see here, if we actually will wait till we jump into the hobby stream, I'll show off one of those minis I kind of pre-cut out. You just very simply, or you could just see Dave doing it right there. He's got the clipper in the corner. You know, perfect timing.
That was literally, you can't hear my voiceover, but if you go and watch me doing this unboxing, I'm like, wow, 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 and that was it. That's me for the first 5 minutes.
Owen Wilsoning the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, the miniatures are actually quite impressive. Obviously I'm supposed to say that, but we've never really done miniatures on our own. When we've done it in partnership with Gale Force 9. They've been resin miniatures, which were fantastic. But this is our first foray into making miniatures, and man, they're really nice. They are highly detailed, high quality. They have, I think, good representation. Y'all are better judges of that because you guys are pretty hardcore into RPG. But I think you've got a good variation of characters in the set, and it's perfect for that group of friends, that person that wants to get started either DMing or playing RPG to walk into a game store, pick up this box set, and they have just about everything they need. All they need to do is get the Game Master core set so they can make their dungeon tiles, terrain, caverns, et cetera. But the box set, it's going to sell, I'm going to talk in US dollars here and euros, for under 50 US dollars, under 50 euros, about $49. And it's going to be due out towards the end of November, so just in time for the holidays.
Cool. It is. I've mentioned this before on our Instagram page. It's the perfect time of the year. It's Christmas is coming, so for the geek in your life, this gives you everything. For the GM in your life, anyone who wants to start GMing, anyone who's getting into D&D, you get paints, you get minis, you get an entire team of minis ready to go. You just need some sharp
The only thing
prize.
it doesn't have are the monsters and foul beasts that inhabit the Underdark and the caverns that you play in.
But those are coming, I believe. So you do. We'll talk about that as the stuff goes on. But anyway, we're here to paint. We are going to be talking more about these minis because these are the minis we're going to be painting. I'm going to switch around to different cams so we can talk about that. Ian, if you can switch your cameras around, there we go.
Hey.
We miraculously get so much smaller, but our voices stay the same. Now I'm going to be trying to. I'm going for the ranger, the elf. What have you got, Ian? What have you picked up?
I'm going with Zersic, the Tiefling Warlock. So hopefully, if I can bring that one, there it is. I love this mini. I was saying to Dave before the stream started that like Tieflings is one of the things I don't have much of an arsenal of in my mini collection. So I was like, that's the one we'll be doing live. And I've already painted up the other four in this set. I loved them. They were really good. And like you said earlier, they're really well done minis. And I didn't know they were Gale Force 9, and I'm a big fan of that.
No, these are not
These are
Gale
not Gale
Force
Force
9.
At least they were.
These are actually army painters.
Oh, even better. Because like I had no clue about that, and I was like, that's incredible. But that's awesome that they're yours. They're really well detailed. I like the depth of the detail as well. It's not like lost by like thickening paint or anything. It's really quite good.
They're actually very. I don't know what the term is, but there's a lot of detail. There's a lot of rivets in there. You can see cloth like bunching up on there. You can see on like this one, for example, on my ranger. You can see the mask. You can see the hair.
Just enough texture to make it interesting, but not overdone to make it difficult to paint for a beginning painter.
Yes, exactly that. It's not overcrowded, and it's not too much to do and too daunting. It is the right level of detail, which I really enjoyed. And I think my favorite so far that I've painted has been the human fighter. I really enjoyed the simplicity of that model.
That's the one I have right here. Yeah, this is Freya is her name. Dave, you've got Derek over there. Derek.
Yeah.
I've got Yalgrim, and it's just you cut them off the sprue, you clean up any of the sprue marks and mold lines, and they snap right together. So for young kids out there, if you are trying to get your young little grums into tabletop gaming, miniature painting, you don't have to worry about giving them super glue. You could always use plastic glue. They're not going to glue their hands together with that. But they just snap right together. If you're just trying to get a good game in at your store or, in your basement, your coffee table, you just snap them right together and you can get right into it.
Yeah,
of course, we love to paint ours. I'm going to paint up the Dwarf Cleric today, if that's all right with you all.
Yeah.
And I am going to be using, don't worry, I am going to be using the paints from inside the set. I'm also going to play around with some things because we are working on some new paints and products.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to be testing a few of them while we're doing this.
Cool.
If that's all right.
Yeah, feel free to shout out any details you're allowed to share.
You go on.
The
Well,
that dwarf is stunning as well. I mean, the detail
Yeah.
on there. I love his pose. Did you? How many rounds of designs with the artist did you
So
have to go?
you know what, Bo probably, because Bo handled this one, our owner and CEO. He's the one that really led the project on the miniature side of it, and he would just come back to work and have cool things to share with us. So I saw quite a few of them. It's hard to get right because once you start, 3D modeling, then you have to start planning for, actually printing these, not 3D printing these, but injection molding these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of different things can pop up and arise from that you have to account for and then change. So it is actually a pretty costly endeavor as well. Mold fees are not cheap.
One of the things, one of the things I like about the poses is there's some really good poses, and then which are great when you're in combat. You think, yeah, there's my character on the battlefield doing strategic moves. That's great. And then sometimes the DM goes, yeah, and here's a map of the tavern. He's
Right.
like, now I look a bit angry. I look a bit odd now. What's kind of going on? But what I would like to say, I don't know if anyone's done this, so this is a shout out to absolutely anyone, but hopefully Army Painter. I would like to see a chessboard of heroes. So in the kind of battle chess poses, they're just standing there, knights in heavy armor with a sword like pushed into the ground, bowman ready, but not in a kind of combat pose. I would like to see that kind of thing. A mage with a staff, but not in combat pose.
That'd be pretty cool.
A king and
Yeah.
queen. So there you go. There's an idea.
I think that would be
Maybe
Quite-
one day.
Yep.
yeah. Army painted chess sets.
Yeah. And you could do, and then you could do different chess sets. So you could have humans, elves, dwarves versus undead, and then you get the equivalent or something like that on the other side, or demons. But the
Heroes
same kind of
versus
thing.
monsters.
Yeah.
Like customize. So basically, you just take basic chess.
Yeah.
you
It's
turn it
just a
into-
chessboard.
which is the one of the first marketable war games
Yes.
ever made, right?
Yeah.
So, but then you spice up. I remember during election time around here, so there's somebody marketing. I work from home, so sometimes I'll have the TV running in the background just to drown out all the chaos that I'm doing on a daily basis. And they were marketing chess sets, but it was they were political opponents from either side of the political aisle. And I'm like, man, if anybody actually purchases this thing, they have to be just the dumbest people in the world.
Well, what a boring game.
Yeah, very, very boring game.
At least like fantasy type chess. I love the whole idea because you get these again. There's no the detail in these. You don't have to have them primed. Don't have to have them painted. But if you did, you got a nice little hobby. You've got a display stand already, which is a chessboard.
Yeah.
You could have the chessboard squares like dungeon tiles. that could be cool.
It is not a bad idea.
I was going to say, how long have you been sat on this pitch, Dave?
No, that literally just popped into my head. But I'm like that. I've had a really busy week, and now my head wants to focus on fun stuff rather than work stuff. So you two have already started. I'm still talking.
I thought that's what we were here for.
Yeah, well, talking and painting
I
and
thought
talking.
this was a painting stream.
Well, it's a stream. Don't know what. Now, if for anyone who's just joined us, don't be confused by Dave building the square above me. That is me. That is a pre-recorded video. There are 3 of us, but 4 self hands. Don't worry about it. That is just me building that earlier.
So obviously, like, for people coming to the hobby, Adam, there's a lot of us here that paint minis as it is, and we already kind of do that as a hobby, like I do. So I would usually, get a spray primer and go for that with these. But I chose to prime these with the undercoat that comes with the set, and I'm trying to do this whole set with just those. What's the best sort of like technique then I suggest, or would say you suggest for the undercoat that you get with this, and what makes this set such a good set for people coming to the hobby?
Well, and that's the thing, is that it has everything that you need. For those that are uninitiated into miniature painting, you do have to prime your models, whether it's a pewter model, a resin model, or a plastic model. And it's very, very important because standard acrylic paints, washes, even things like our speed paints won't adhere to bare plastic resin or pewter. So a primer is just a type of paint that has an agent that bonds tighter to the medium material. So whatever you're painting on top of, and it allows your paint to adhere to it. So with this set, instead of having to go and spend another, $18 on a bottle of spray primer, or if you're a little kid, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid, you don't necessarily want them using aerosols because they might just spray up the entire house, or the side of your house, your inside of your garage, who knows. We do have a brush on gray undercoat. And all you want to do is you want to thin it down like a normal paint. I like to be honest, I like to thin this down and then apply it in 2 thin coats.
Yeah.
Just want it to get and adhere to the miniature. You don't need like full-on coverage. Anytime you're painting with acrylic paints, you do want to thin your paints, but with this, you definitely want to apply 2 thin coats. Let it dry and you should be good to go.
Yeah, that's what I did with these ones, is 2 thin coats. I think it's a pretty standard saying, 2 thin coats within this hobby, and I do genuinely believe that that's really important. So,
It's an absolute necessity. I mean, unless you're doing something like using a speed paint, like our speed paint range, where it's meant to be a 1-coat solution, it's a different style of painting. You definitely want to use 2 thin coats to get the best effect. And the reason that you do that is because you don't want to obscure all of those cool details on the miniature. If you apply it in 1 super thick coat, you will obscure those details.
yeah, I think we've all been there at the start. And in all fairness, I can still fall prey to being lazy every now and again with a mini and being like, slap some paint on it. Oh, I'm not going to thin this down, and then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I really should have thinned that down.
I mean, it happens to the best of us, let's be honest. And sometimes in certain projects and certain parts of the mini, sometimes all they need is just 1 thin coat. It all depends. And at the end of the day, it's your miniature, and if it makes you happy, that's all that matters.
Completely agree. That's what this is about, isn't it?
Yeah, and to get the most out of your paints and your end result, definitely recommend thinning them down.
So we've got a question in chat.
Yeah.
From Hagley. Thank you for joining us, Hagley. The date is wrong, because that was yesterday. But it's the army
talking about
the army painter birthday.
Yes,
on Sunday.
From October 12th. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'll get to the birthday. I think I understand what Hagley's saying. Hagley, yes, we announced yesterday. We are expanding the speed paint range.
Yes.
So some of the products that I might be playing with today, along with the Game Master paints, are some of the new ones that we are tinkering and toying with. There's no full details on that yet, other than we are expanding the range. There will be more colors. The way that we are going to go about doing that is going to be pretty cool. So there's no set timeline on when they will be released just yet. But it's definitely something that, how can I say this? That you will want to be a part of, and you will be able to be a part of. So we have some cool announcements coming, some really cool content surrounding it, and I think it's exciting. It's as a guy who likes to develop marketing campaigns and product stories, this is probably the most compelling story that I've ever been a part of, and I'm very excited.
Wow. That's some accolades to put to it.
I mean, I hope it works, right? But
yeah.
And I hope that the community feels the same way. But it's definitely very exciting.
I think when the promo came out, was it yesterday? Like the 1-minute video came out.
Yes,
I was really excited about that.
Yeah,
I think I was saying.
David was saying it is our 15th birthday, and we will be celebrating on Sunday.
Yes.
So we will be doing a live stream. Bo, our founder and CEO, co-founder and CEO, will be there. Thomas, our head studio painter, will be there. I will be there. Sadly, you guys will have to look at my ugly face again. But we are just going to be painting, hanging out, answering questions, and doing some giveaways, because that's on our birthday. That's what we do. That's how we celebrate.
What's the main platform for that?
It will be on YouTube, but we will have links on our Facebook. You'll be able to find it pretty easily.
Nice.
Am I even allowed to say YouTube on Twitch?
Yeah. This is going out on YouTube as soon as it's finished on Twitch. So that's fine. I think Twitch it's our live platform, and then the archive goes onto YouTube for everyone else. I think
Right.
that's easy enough.
So it's nice that you get a brush with the set with the starter brush, but obviously like
Yeah.
the idea to do a range of brushes as it is. So where does the starter brush fit into?
I mean, it's like a standard base coat brush. It's close to a 1, if you're familiar. I mean, I use my regiment brush is my go-to brush. It's what I use for 99% of my painting. And I accidentally we were making Halloween decorations in my office last week. If I could turn my camera around, you'd see them. We made some really cool ghosts to hang around our front yard. They're pretty cute. So I accidentally sat up my starter brush, so it did bend a little bit. I'm gonna hold it under the camera here and compare it. It's virtually the identical shape and size to the regiment brush. The key differences here is that this is going to be a synthetic, but it's a really, really nice synthetic bristle.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice brush. I mean, it's for, like I said, that size brush is what I use for more than 90% of my painting.
Yeah, I've been using it primarily for all the minis in this set because when I went to approach these ones, I wanted to use everything that was in here because that's the point of this set is to, begin your journey or to do them with the stuff that comes with. And I've been really enjoying this brush. It has become one of my staples.
So I'm just about done with the undercoat on my little dwarfy dwarf. How are you guys faring?
I pre-primed mine with white army spray. I picked up a can of army. I found we was out shopping, and I ran out of my previous matte, and they were selling army paint. I was like, oh great! So I picked up a couple of cans of spray primer.
Thank you.
And it
They are my go-to primers. The matte black is because I think I mostly use the matte black and then the matte black paint itself to do any touch-ups, which is awesome about the army paint is the fact that their colors match the primers.
Yeah.
And that's the point of that. But so I mostly use those as it is, but I primed this one up with the actual undercoat that comes with it. And I did that a few days ago because I didn't know how long it was going to take to dry. But actually, I could have done it tonight. But what I wanted to do was get it to a point where I've done the primer and now I'm doing a layer of black on the majority, a layer of white on the flame and the stone, and then the staff is going to be metallics. So I'm going to probably put a bit of brown on that one, and then I'm going to dry brush up through the colors on the larger areas, like the cloak, and then do the purple skin on this tiefling.
Very cool. I dig it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to get the base done because the base is. I really like these because they're already pre-based with detail, and that's something that I really, really am enjoying about these. Whereas, like, usually I will go and base a mini with terrain basing stuff and go and get some tufts and some grass bits. But the fact that these came with it and it was good, it wasn't just like, I'm going to put that on a different base or anything. I actually really have enjoyed painting up these so far. So I think the Ranger, that was really fun. Like, and I'll take it apart and show you actually. There we go. I really enjoyed the. Let's go that way. The stones and the dirt on this one. And I really get all of like the different
I love
colors.
that you didn't glue it down, so that way you could take it off and show it. That's great salesmanship right there.
Hired, you say?
I would love to take credit, like we told you to do that, but we didn't.
No, I really enjoyed it. I've actually I painted the bases separately, and then I do the boots, and then I put them together. That way, I don't have to worry about glue marks, and I don't have to worry about like painting over from the boot onto the base or the base onto the boot. That was probably one of my favorite things about this product was the fact that I was able to do certain bits separate without having to worry about gluing it like Warhammer stuff. When I paint anything Tau, I'm like, oh god, I've got to put the lines on that, then glue it on, and I'm going to ruin it with glue because I'm just not coordinated.
So I have an important question before I paint the next step. Do dwarves have to have like orange red hair?
No.
Does it stop me from doing it on this miniature though?
Do it if you want to do it.
the joys of a tabletop is, especially with things like Dungeons and Dragons. If you want a dwarf with pink hair, you've got a dwarf with pink hair.
That's right. I just didn't know, I didn't know from like lore and history, like, are they supposed to have, and do they have to have orange hair? I know that's kind of a stupid question because
I think
we're
some
talking about
people would.
fantasy worlds, right?
Exactly. I think some people would definitely like to keep theirs more traditional and other people don't. I mean, you can take something like a gnome and be like, okay, well, my grandfather was a gnome and therefore I'm 1/8 gnome, but I've still got the pink hair from him. All interchangeable. And I think that's what's great about these games is like everybody gets the chance to be creative. So if you want to be creative with a character, be creative with a character.
Yeah. I agree.
What I did like as well is because I want you to tell me more about Farbend. So this came with the set, and I liked it when I opened it up. Was this little map and a little quest on the back of it?
So that's just straight from Bo's brain. Bo has been running, and as I know it, because you know about as much as that as I do. I proofread it, and that's about it. But all I know is that Bo has been running campaigns with his friends. I actually was very fortunate. He invited me to a birthday party that they had at his house for Jonas, his co-founder, Kim, who was one of our first employees and one of Bo's childhood friends. I think they went to high school together. He's been with the company since basically the start. And Bo had a bunch of his grade school buddies that he used to play D&D and war games with, and they were all there. And it's easy for a company to say, we live and breathe this stuff, but we actually do. And like that was living proof. Was that Bo introduced me to these two brothers that he's been playing D&D with, I believe, for like, I don't even know how old Bo is, but 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I just think that this is something that came out of Bo's brain, and he thought it would be really cool to add and helpful for, people beginning in this to have kind of a narrative to start from. And then for people that already have a campaign, it could be something that they add into it. You know what I mean? Just as inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. So Farbend's not then part of a wider campaign that you guys are going to start bringing about.
I mean, it's there's going to be a bit about Farbend in all of the Game Master sets. I can tell you that much. I mean,
that was one of the things that I did with the unboxing is to look at that and go, does this mean we're going to get more?
Yeah.
Because it makes you want to get the rest of the adventures.
Yeah.
What are we leading up towards?
I mean,
what are the futures?
It's no secret. We've already, leaked the silhouettes of the other miniatures in this range, and there are going to be paint sets coming in the near future. But yeah, it's that's that they will add to the story as this range grows. You know what I mean?
And I think that's really cool. I definitely, when I read through that, I was like, this could be the start of a campaign module. And I know that Dave, like me, gets them to read them like novels.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was quite excited about that. And I instantly wanted to know more. So I think that's probably, for me, like one of the selling points that is, I might not be brand new to painting. And maybe I'd look at the starter set and be like, well, I'm going to get it for the minis. And then it has something about a campaign inside it or a small quest hook. I was like, that's my selling point right there. That's what I want. And so I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to know more about Farbend. I wanted to know where it was from, and I think that if you are going to put more of that into future boxes of minis that have paints that come with them, then you have a buying customer right here.
Well, I can say that Farbend is going to be included and kind of seen throughout the Game Master promotions and products. Do I know where it's headed? Absolutely not. It's because it's one of those things where it's Bo's brain. He could decide to blow up Farbend in the fourth box set that we come out with if we do a fourth box set, and we'll never see it again. Who knows? But it's just we had a meeting today, and Bo was involved, and he's like, yeah, this is a business, and we run a business, and it's our job to make money. But at the end of the day, I get to make cool shit, and I get to work with the stuff that I love on a daily basis. And my dog might go crazy because somebody just pulled up in my driveway, so I apologize. But at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. I mean, we get to make toys that we want to play with, and when we develop something like this, it's I think it'd be really cool if we had a side quest inside.
Yeah.
What's to stop us from doing that? Nothing. As long as we have the time and resources.
It was a very good idea. I found that one of the most pleasing things, and I really enjoyed it. I found myself wanting to know more, and hoping that if I'm able to get hold of the is it the Wilderness Adventures and the Wandering Monsters paint set?
You've got it.
Yeah, I see that on the back of the box in front of me, and I'm already intrigued.
Well, see, there's questions about that as well. See, I have it right here, everybody. There we go. And if I zoom in on this, then you can see we've got a troll and a hag.
Yeah. More info, please, Adam.
Yeah. What else can we? When
are they coming out?
And are they going to be snap fit as well?
Yeah, of course. Of course, the troll is huge. It's a big miniature. I love the way Thomas painted it, and you can see that the troll is scratching his rear end. That was like a requisite for Bo. They weren't going to have a troll miniature unless it was scratching his rear end.
Yeah.
And I think Thomas just look at that. Thomas did a fantastic job painting that miniature.
Wow.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
It's a very, very, very cool miniature. It's different. What I like about it is it doesn't quite look like other miniatures out there, especially that one. It's very cool.
The hag was interesting because you got two bases as well.
Yeah, so there's a base for the cauldron.
Yeah.
And then the hag, and she has her little demonic undead cat / dog thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's like a bit of necromancy and wizardry going on with that one, which is pretty cool. Just give me 1 second, fellas.
No problem.
And yes, I'm back.
I think we've got a question as well. Captured Alive, what is the price of the set? Looks like
it should be $49.99. It's just under $50, and that's in US and euros. So from my perspective, when Bo first pitched this to the group, because that's how a lot of the product decisions come out. Sometimes it's us going to Bo with an idea. A lot of times it's Bo saying, "What do you think of this?" And there's a lot of things that Bo comes to us with. He's like, "What do you think of this?" And we're like, "Eh," or we're like, "Yes, that's really a good idea." This was one of those where we were like, "Oh, that sounds great," and then he's like, "And we're going to sell it for $50," and we're like, "No way!" It's a great deal. I don't know where you can get 5 minis for $50, let alone 5 minis and 20 paints.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be a great starter set, and that's what it's intended to be. We really hope that it's competitive, that it's something that gets a lot of people into gaming. And I think we spoke about this a bit before on the last show that I didn't see. There's a lot of people that play RPGs but don't necessarily play with painted minis.
Yeah.
And we want to make it easier and kind of demystify what it takes to paint miniatures. It's not that difficult. It doesn't, you don't have to. A, you're not going to ruin the miniature by putting paint on it. And B, it's just this whole other side of the hobby, which you can also enjoy with your gaming group, like we're doing right now.
Yeah. Just a shout out there. Captured Alive. Thank you for following. If you want to, go over to youtube.com/bandofbadgers and subscribe there as well. We're trying to... Our recent target is 800. If you can help us get to 800, that goes for anyone in watching us in the audience. Thank you for hanging around. Go to youtube.com/bandofbadgers. Just open up. Don't go there now. Just go open up a new tab. Go check it out. Go subscribe. Go help us out. We're trying to hit 800. If you in the audience have any questions, don't be shy. Shout them out. Let us know. Adam is here to answer all your army painter needs.
So Adam, you said that this obviously is a starter set for people coming to the hobby, and this is designed to show people that it's not as daunting, that it can be done quite easily. But what's your hobby journey? Where did you begin, and what led you to this role with the army painter?
Okay. I mean, I've been asked this a million times, and I don't presume that anybody will know, and I feel bad for having to tell this story because I feel like if you're on the internet and you like miniatures, I feel like you've already heard it, but I know that that's not the case. But years ago, I guess late 90s, I was actually I lived in Philadelphia. I was visiting some cousins that lived in upstate New York. And that summer, my uncle and my cousins and I, we read the Lord of the Rings. We started the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Let's just say that. And during the days when I was visiting, I think I was there for a week or two. We built Middle Earth out of Legos in my cousin's basement.
Cool.
Wow.
And we had a game, but we didn't have rules. And it was my cousin Jason was orcs, and Alex was humans, and I was elves, and it was all well and fun. And then one time we went to a mall, and we saw a Games Workshop store. And right in the front window were miniatures of elves, orcs, and humans, and we're like, it was like seeing the Holy Grail, right?
Yeah.
So we bought a bunch of miniatures, we bought some paints, and we started doing that. We never played a game. I never played a game, and then fast forward to when I'm, 10, 12 years ago, I'm on a bike ride with some friends, and after the bike ride, we're in a pool drinking beers, and one of my buddies grabs a pool noodle and puts it under his arm like a joust, and he says, "I'm a Bretonian knight." And it was like the record scratch moment. And it's like, what did you just say? I know what a Bretonian knight is. And the next day we went to Games Workshop store. We bought some minis. I started playing Warhammer 40K competitively. I had a podcast about it. And I started working in the industry and consulting with other companies in this industry, and I met Bo at a show, and we got on really well. And he said, "Do you want to come work for the Army Painter?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I've been with the company for, it feels like a very long time. It's only been 5 or 6 years, I think, and it's been great. I've been my own boss before, and I will say that this is the best company I've ever worked for, and I've started my own. It's just a really good time, and I mean that sincerely.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Cool. So, obviously, like with Warhammer and going in from that route, then. So, do you have like favorite miniatures you like to paint? And if so, how do these miniatures compare to those?
So I do like to paint big miniatures. I'm looking over at my shelf, and I've got, like any good 40K player that's been playing for long enough, you have your own custom chapter, and Tyranids are my other love. I've got some on the table here. I like the organic miniatures because when you grow up painting in this industry, and this is another reason why it's really fun to work at the Army Painters, is you're taught a certain way to paint miniatures by certain companies, and you're raised to believe that that's the only way you're supposed to paint miniatures. And then when you start working in the industry and you start delving into different products and different companies, you realize there is no way to paint miniatures that is the right way to paint miniatures. There are just techniques that you can learn.
Yeah.
And when you master those techniques, you can start to do really cool things. So I love painting outside the box stuff. With my Tyranids, for example, like, I'm an army painter, so I like to cheat. So cheating is, I don't like cheating in games. I like to cheat when I'm painting as much as possible. So, you do a couple things that make it unique. I do the modeling, which is really easy to do, and very simple paint. And all the carapace, I paint black and put gloss on it.
Nice.
Boom, that's it. And it gives it a really cool effect. And then I can focus my efforts on other things. But to answer your question, I like painting just about anything. There's some tiny miniatures. I tell you, Yalgrim's almost a little too small for me. And I know a lot of people like painting miniatures because they're miniatures. But this is like the right size.
Yeah.
The right size. I've painted dwarf miniatures from other companies in the past that are very, very small. And when they get that small, for me, it's not fun anymore.
I've only recently just got hold of a set of magnifying glasses, which I've not got on yet because I'm only just doing like my base coating. But these were like a game changer for me in terms of like the smaller minis. So like I think a few of like the Nolzers, gnomes and stuff like that, which are really small. And I was like, I need to wear those for the entire process. Whereas I know my lighting in here is not that bad at the moment. While I'm doing the base layers, I don't need them on with these minis because all the details are so pronounced, and also, it's a good scale. And mine is going to 75mm, which is obviously too big for our tabletops, but it's good for a shelf or something. The 28 to 32s are fantastic, and I think that the size that you guys have done for these are perfect.
Well, thank you. I will let Bo know.
I'd agree on that. The sizing is really nice.
Yeah.
The detail is just right. Now, for those of you listening, when you hear Adam and Ian talking about painting techniques and stuff, it goes over my head as well. I have no idea what they're talking about. Most of the time, even before we went live, they started talking about sports. I had no idea, and it's the same thing. I'm not a complete beginner, but I am a beginner. So if you can see what I'm doing compared to what they're doing, don't be put off. All you got to do, if you're interested in doing it, just do it.
Just do it. I can't tell you. I mean, one of the things that I love about when I used to play competitive tabletop games is that you are forced to spend 2.5 to 3.5 hours with this person that more often than not is somebody you've never met before. Of course, you're gonna run into people that you already know, and that's all well and good, and that's an excuse for you to hang out and go to war together. But more often than not, if you're playing 8 games over the course of the weekend, you're going to play 7 opponents that you've never met before, never heard of before, and it's an opportunity to make memories with somebody that could potentially last a lifetime, and I love that.
Yeah.
But I go and I've got usually I like to have a pretty decently painted army. That's the whole point to going, and people compliment and then they say something like, "I'm sorry, mine looks nothing as good as yours," and I hate that. Because if you've got paint on the miniature, I already love it.
Yeah.
If there's no paint on the miniature, it's a bummer experience for me because I'm not going to be able to immerse. I love, I have a unit in my army that's made up of, to match friends that I play games with. They're all named after them, and they have nicknames and I love to, I hate to use this term because it's Games Workshop's thing, but I love to forge the narrative and in a fun way with my opponents. And even if I'm kicking their face in and they're kicking my face in, it's an opportunity to have fun. And it's just so much easier to do with painted miniatures. And I don't care how good or bad it looks. I don't think that there's such a thing as a bad painted miniature as long as effort was put in. It's something that you care about and genuinely worked hard at.
Yeah, agreed. I think that for me, I'm a big fan of Table Ready, and there are some minis that I really put a lot of time and effort into, like really kind of like, going into like every line and every detail and the eyes and stuff, because they're like either characters or NPCs that I really want my players to be like, wow, I'm fighting or I'm friends with this person. But the rest of them, I'm like, as long as it's not grey plastic on the table for me, then the immersion isn't ruined. And
Right.
for some people, that's absolutely fine. If you want to put grey on the table, then you crack on. If that's your thing, that's your thing. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. But for me personally, as a dungeon master and a games master, I definitely like to have things down on the table that people can be like in the moment with. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I also like to have things down on the table that are painted. But I think it comes back to as well what you're saying. Like you put it on the back of the box here as well. And it was one of the first things I noticed when I was looking over the box was nothing brings a fantasy world more to life than the creatures that inhabit it.
Yep. And painting those foul beasts and monsters and your heroes and heroines it just brings the game to life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you guys nailed it with that first sentence on the back of the box.
That's kind of our MO is playing with painted miniatures. It's just more fun. It really is.
Also, hello to Captured Alive. Thanks for coming in. I definitely recognize you under Zeno. It's good to see you, bud. It's one of my Instagram friends. He's a very good painter and deals a lot with Star Wars Legion.
There's some great sculpts in that game.
Yeah. I'm a big Star Wars nerd.
I wonder who made the paints for that game.
Plug.
Do it.
These are not the paints you're looking for. I don't think Lucasfilms / Disney would approve. No, it's very, very, very cool miniatures.
So
here's what I can say: the Army Painter is Disney and Lucasfilms approved.
Oh,
really? Is that just for licensed packaging, licensed products, or is that? Do you ever Does Army
There's-
Painter work on their the prototypes for the films and in that kind of thing? Just for
No,
boxes.
nothing like that. No, nothing like that. I mean, if you look at the Fantasy Flight owns the license to,
Yeah.
and they make the game. And one of the cool things about being our company is that we get to play with a lot of IP. For example, we've had the Dungeons and Dragons license for the past 5 years, I believe. I think we've been really strong with it. We've made paints for Bolt Action and War Games. We've made paints for Zombicide. Of course, we've made paints for our friends at Steamforge Games. The Guild Ball paint set was one of I think the first licensed paint sets that the company ever produced outside of our relationship with Bolt Action.
Yep.
We get to make paints for all of these cool companies. So yeah, we make paints, but at the same time, we get to play around with a lot of cool games and a lot of cool IP that comes across our table.
That's very, very cool.
It is very cool.
I think, especially with the Dungeons and Dragons sets, I haven't been able to get hold of things like, because obviously you did like the paint night sets, like the Manticore and everything like that. But I wasn't able to get hold of them where I am down in Cornwall and in the UK. But I saw like a lot of my American kind of Instagram people that I follow. They were, they loved them, and the D&D paint sets seem to be a thing that's picked up quite a lot.
So the Hobby Night ones we did not do. And I think that that only a few of them got out. I think that's something that there's a lot of people are still actually waiting on. But our hope is that this Game Master set is going to be kind of the start to things like game night sets, and,
yes.
and that is our goal.
So are there going to be more character sets moving forwards then, or is it going to be more focused on monsters?
I think it all depends. Right now, there are not. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of that. So even if I could lie to you, I can't, because I don't know. But I have to assume that if this is something that we fully expect and intend to support this range. So if it is a successful range and it's something that people want more of, I can't see why we wouldn't do, leveled up versions of these 5 characters, or new characters to add to the fray.
That's a nice idea. Does that mean that you could, because when I did the unboxing video, so everyone who's watching where it says Dave Building, that's me putting these minis together for the first time. They are snap fit, no glue required. You just got to chop them off the sprue, and away you go. But you mentioning sort of powered up. Could that be a type of expansion? So like the dwarf, imagine you took both of his arms were pop on. You could upgrade his weapon of choice, or swap it out for an axe, a hammer, that kind of thing. Because it's pop fit,
yeah,
you could have,
why not,
your choice. You get the same pose, but a different weapon. Or you get like a magic weapon or something. It'd be cool.
Yeah, very cool.
It would be really cool. I mean, if you watch the initial, somebody mentioned the Hero Forge miniatures. We did use Hero Forge miniatures when we first released kind of the Game Master brand and with the core set. And I painted up each of those, and I think I painted them all up in 3 different tutorials. I think we did kind of like a getting started tutorial, then a level up tutorial, then a masterclass tutorial.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like 15 videos. And then it was actually 16 videos because we painted Yalgrim, and then we realized at the end of it, we didn't like him being green. We wanted him to have white armor because it better matched the box art. And so that was kind of like, this was an actual level up. Like maybe he had achieved a certain level in the game, and he had transformed from like a basic cleric to like a master cleric or something like that. And I think that's a cool thing that you can do with these miniatures. And that's, I think, something that people tend to be a little bit afraid of, is like painting their miniatures and then painting them again.
Yeah.
And there should be no reason to be afraid of that. Like, this is a part of your journey. Your miniatures, that they're going to go through changes and things like that. I know wargamers all the time that paint miniatures, and then 20 years later, they're like, you know what? I want to touch up those Blood Angels that I've had, and kind of bring them up to date, or maybe turn them into veteran status and give them some unique squad markings.
Yeah.
Nothing in the games or lore, that says that you can't go back and repaint your miniatures.
Absolutely not. And that's part of, it's your character, it's your army. You do what you want with it. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise.
That's exactly.
So are we going to see? Are we gonna? Is Ian going to be seeing a Dragonborn bard?
Yeah,
That
was one of my next questions.
I don't know about that. That'd be pretty cool.
And it could be copper. It could be a copper Dragonborn bard.
We don't have It's the one thing that we don't have in the in the party is a bard
or a Dragonborn.
That's
the
true.
two most important things. Yeah, that's. I would be very grateful if you did that.
One day.
One day.
We can't do everything at once. We try.
Ugh, why not?
We try. At the end of the day, I mean, we are a big company today. I mean, and the fact that we have products all over the world, and we get to do fun things like this. But at the end of the day, we're still a small company in a lot of regards. You know what I mean?
There is something you do that I really want.
What's that?
I will show you. I have it right here. So this is your brochure, your magazine. This is the free if it's in a retailer store. You can pick one up. But I saw something I wanted. Where is it? Here it is. I want one of these. Now we talked about when we first got in touch. We talked about the apron, and then I saw this. This is an army painter mug.
Yeah,
I want one.
That is such a trope. I mean, so we have a bunch of those at the office because that's what we drink. I mean, we drink a lot of coffee at work.
Yep.
And they're all faded, and they all just they get washed multiple times a day, and people started seeing them pop up in videos and stuff like that, and they're like, "I want a mug. I want a mug. I want a mug." So last year for our 14th birthday, we gave away some mugs. And we've been trying to find a way to do it, to sell and offer them for sale.
Yeah.
We are worried that if we start doing that, we're just going to have to warranty a bunch of broken coffee mugs. And that's not something that we want to do. You know what I mean? But I merch and things of that nature are something that are on our radar. But man, we do paints, and we do paints well, so we got to focus on that for now.
Got to stay on the paints.
I like that you went through the magazine, Dave, and said, "That's a nice mug. I want to get that." I
want a mug. Yeah.
Color wheel. Went through all the techniques that I really should know better than I do. It's like formulating questions. You're like, "Nut mug. I want a mug."
Yep, coffee mug.
Yep. While you're in there.
Of all the cool things you could have picked out of that book, you went after the coffee mug.
I will swap you. I will send you a Band of Badgers mug for an army painter mug.
So here's the funny thing. Both of the mugs that I got sent, because I complained for forever. I was like, why don't I get mugs? Y'all have shot glasses. Just because I'm
shot glasses. Wow. Now I want shot glasses.
Doesn't mean that I shouldn't get these cool things too. And sure enough, for Christmas 2 years ago, I think it was, I had 2 of the coffee mugs show up and they were both broken. So it's just,
that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Now you mentioned shot glasses. Army Painter HQ, they have a bar, don't they?
Yes, we do. Dippett's Dungeon.
Wow.
That's cool.
So every Wednesday is hobby and game night. So anybody at the company is encouraged to come play games, paint. We have, the project paint stations like you have set up with wet palettes and a bunch of paints available. We make an effort that every employee has to paint up one owlbear. I think we talked about this on the last show.
Yeah, it's nice.
Bring it up again because it might as well. We paint up one owlbear. It's our owlbear, and that owlbear. My owlbear is the best owlbear, by the way. But
hold on. Where's my? I've got an owlbear. There we go. There's my owlbear. Although I did follow your instructions, so this is.
That's right. Yeah.
This is from
the video to a T, and it looks fantastic, by the way.
This literally is the very first mini I ever painted, which I painted in the garden. Follow it. It was the video. I think is maybe 20 minutes, and it took me hours. I had to stop, pause, and then it's like, right, how do I do that? Right, okay. How do I do that bit? Doesn't look like the video. How do I do this bit? It's great, and it's a really nice sculpt. The feathers have a lot of detail.
So, I'll be honest, that owlbear sculpt is one of my favorite miniatures of all time.
Yeah.
It is right up there with one of my favorite miniatures of all time. I also there's one that Workshop did from their vampire guys. I'll grab him in a minute. And I did a conversion to make him a demon prince because I was doing a wolf themed chaos army, and I put some wings on him and added some fur and made him all wolfy. And I love that miniature. And then one of the other miniatures that I really love is behind me. It's there's a tutorial for it. This big Necron guy. This is for my daughter's Necron army.
Oh wow!
Down here, but
Oh yeah, you showed it. Yeah, that was amazing.
I'm getting a fun little. I didn't even notice I've got a fun little glare from my window. The sun is setting here.
So which is your favorite out of this set then?
It's hard to say my favorite out of this set. I think Freya used to be my favorite. I don't know. I was tempted to paint Corleen. I mean, miniature-wise, Zersic is probably my favorite miniature. Darik is right up there too in the set, but I think my favorite character is Corleen.
Yeah.
Because her whole backstory is that, she comes from a very wealthy family, and she decided to leave like the riches and become the rogue that she is. And the blade that she has is like a family heirloom that she stole from her father, who I think that there's some story there that Bo has as to why. I think maybe her father was like a corrupt politician or something like that. And I think she's got a really cool story.
So each of these does have a backstory then, because I don't think I saw that.
No, it's a lot of that's internal. Some of it was published with the original core set. And you know what? If I were to dig that up right now, it would probably take me quite a while. But that was our inspiration for the characters when we, developed the whole Game Master range.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Is my camera back on? There we go.
Yep.
Sorry, I had the alarm going off to pick up the kid from school.
I do presume somebody's safe to go get them. Yeah, it's we've not dragged you away from.
No, my wife.
You switched into portrait mode though. If you're able to switch it to landscape, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll do it. Hold on. How's that?
Yep, you're back.
Am I back?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna let some stuff dry.
Yeah, I'm at the point where my base layers are needing to start drying. So will we see after you?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, will we see more of the backstory for these characters moving forwards then?
I hope so. I don't have a strong answer for you there. I hope so. You definitely will see more of like I said, the Farbend story, and that will develop as the other sets come out. But for the characters, I'm not sure. I would think so. Why would we develop them if we didn't have more to say about them?
I love the idea of having a set from you guys that's kind of like the Lost Mines of Phandelver, where like you get everything you need to begin a campaign inside a box that's like paints, minis, a small adventure book. Like, and I know that's what this basically is, but like the idea of like taking Farbend and moving it forwards, I really, really am looking forward to seeing that.
Well, you could take the terrain box set, couldn't you, and say, here's the team, here's a set of heroes with some pre-gen character sheets, if you could do that. Here's a location to build. Here's your first map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's the I don't know, orc war band or whatever, and they're led by a troll or two-headed yetin or something, yetin. And you've got a farmhouse to build or something like that. And there you go. There's everything you need for your first encounter and a short kind of side quest.
Yeah, I mean, like,
mini story.
who's to say that the dungeon party is not called to help the mayor of Farbend to eradicate the troll population that has been plaguing the cattle and sheep? You know,
it just has to, and then you could upscale that. So every box set you get, okay, here's the 1 to 3, here's the levels 1 to 3, here's the level 10, and here's the epic level.
Right.
Yeah.
Would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
It's time to drive.
So I mentioned the so we mentioned the terrain box set. So this is a Game Master another edition for creating your own terrain. Now this is a kind of challenge that when I first spoke with Jonah and Adam at Army Painter, they were very, very kind, very generous, and sent one over. I barely paint, and they sent something over which is like, here, have a go at making your own terrain. And actually, reading the books that are inside, the little brochures, the step-ins, I've always found the tutorials from Army Painter extremely helpful.
Yeah.
For me, a beginner, to get into it. And the instructions are very, very easy to follow. Now, I finally have an idea, but I will show you quickly. So on the big screen here, this is a sample. They sent over a few examples, and I've got one here. This is just a very simple stack of stones, or a pillar of stones, or a cairn, with snow on it. And it's all chipped and chiseled out. It's painted white bits. There's some snow texture on there as well. It's really, really nice. And if you do a few of these, there's obstacles, there's platforms to give your party some elevation. I love that kind of stuff on my maps, my battle maps. I get very strategic, and blocking line of sight is great for me. I love doing that to my players. I love experiencing it as a player as well.
Yes,
100%. Anytime you can block line of sight, I think it makes the game more immersive. And I think any game I've ever played where you don't have line of sight as a feature in the game, it becomes problematic. And I like true line of sight. You know, you need to get down on the level of your miniature and see what they're seeing. You're
that comes from a gaming side of things, doesn't it?
What's that?
That comes from a wargaming side of things as well.
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
Yeah, terrain's a big thing for that. And I think for this set, one of the big things for me with the terrain stuff is, especially for people in the UK, XPS foam, proper stuff, is really hard to get hold of unless you know exactly where to get it from. So actually to be able to get hold of it in a set like this is really, really good. Otherwise, you have to go and find certain companies that do it. And yeah, I think a lot of like people who do this kind of thing on YouTube and on Instagram and places that I certainly go to, 90% of their questions is, where do you get your XPS foam from and how do I get it in the UK? So having it inside these Game Master sets for the UK buyers, it's really good.
Yeah, and it's I think that it's one of those things, and we recognize it 100%. Like, yeah, you can get a lot of these things at your hardware store. The XPS foam you actually can't. I mean, that's cut to a very specific density and size for tabletop gaming. But you know, you can get XPS foam at certain hardware stores in certain places. But a lot of gamers and hobbyists, especially the younger generation that can't drive, you know, if their parents can drop them off at one place on the weekend for 5 hours, so they want to go to a hardware store to buy foam and a saw, or do they want to go to the game store where they can play games, buy paints, buy, you know, the XPS foam, the foam cutter, and everything right there. And I think that's really the convenience aspect of it, because everything's been thought out and put right there for you. You don't have to go to 5 different stores and scour the internet for it. It's all right in that box set. And the price has been reduced on that set, so I think it's going to be like $60 now, which just makes the value of the set absolutely insane. So if you're on the lookout for it, ask your friendly local game store, and they can pick one up from their distributor if they don't already have it in stock.
I just think it's such a nice extra piece to do, and I was kind of stuck on what would I do, because the examples that are given in the book, in the guide, are, I mean, there's a ton of different things, and there are different box sets for different. So you got a desert box, an Arctic box. I got the dungeon box, and I finally come up with an idea. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla again recently, and I was trying to think of what I could possibly do. And if you're in the audience and if you like Assassin's Creed, give a shout out, give a cheer for Assassin's Creed. I want to do a tower, because they're all broken towers anyway, with the crumbling walls, and most specifically, I want the synchronization point. So that is that is my challenge that I've set myself, is to build a kind of tower that I can use for my tabletop games in the vein of Assassin's Creed.
Do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I dare you.
Oh, I'm up for it. If you want to turn it into a proper challenge, I'll dare myself. There we go.
Sounds like
challenge accepted. And just stay tuned to our Instagram page.
So I'm gonna plug my own Instagram here for that one. It's like I didn't quite get the synchro point in there. And I did put up a picture of it, and I think a reel of me like inking it up. But I did manage to do a broken tower. Oh god, I think I'm too close to that. A while ago, actually. Yeah. Some XPS. Yeah, that's way too far. I'll try and do it on the small camera, I guess.
You got to angle it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, so I did a huge tower a while ago, and that's on my Instagram if people want to go see that. But try and get on that one. Yeah, it's a decent enough size, but I'll try and show it off at the end when we've got a better camera on it, because the one that's focused on my painting station is zoomed in, so you're never going to see that. But that was fun. That was really fun, and I think I didn't have a hot wire cutter or anything like that. I just had a hobby knife, some PVA glue, and some black paint to seal it, and that was a case of like I went at it like that, and that build actually prompted me to then go and get a hot wire cutter. But I think for those that are just joining with terrain building and painting and stuff, things like the Game Master sets that have all the foam in there that you can cut with a hobby knife, you don't need things like hot wire cutter and stuff like that. It's everything you need is in those terrain sets.
Yeah, the hot wire foam cutter comes in the core set, for sure. So if you go with that one, there are other terrain sets that are more thematic. You know, there's a wilderness and woodland set, which might sound familiar to y'all. There's a ruins set. There's a cavern set. There's a desert set. Oh, and there's a snow and tundra set as well.
Yep.
So they're a little bit more focused. So you can even create little expansions to add on to the initial dungeon story that you start telling, and adventure that you go on. The key to those is the primer. Foam does not like aerosol, and we developed a water-based spray primer, and it takes a little bit longer to dry than an aerosol does, but it doesn't eat the foam. If you take standard foam and you need to Mod Podge it and cover it with something before you can spray it, with this, you just spray it right on top, and you don't have to worry about it. So when we started developing this, it was right pre-COVID, and when COVID hit, we had to develop it, but I hadn't seen the product other than, photos and emails, screen shares, etc. And watching Thomas, our head studio painter, kind of go to work and play with the product while they perfected it over in Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
And then when things kind of lifted and I was able to travel over there again, I went over and Bo says, all you're doing today is playing with Game Master product with Thomas in the studio. Awesome. All right, Thomas, what do we do? And he handed me a hot wire foam cutter, foam, PVA glue, and some toothpicks. And he says, whatever you want. And I looked at everything that he had done. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a bridge, because we don't have a bridge here. And I wanted to make like a ruined bridge that was falling down. And it's the first time I had ever done anything with foam. Every terrain piece I'd ever made before, I used insulation foam for the base, but I built it up with PVC pipe and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my first time actually building walls with it and things of that nature, proper terrain. And it was super easy. I think like in 2 hours, in my first time doing it, I had this really cool looking bridge. And there's things that I could have done better, of course, but it was my first time. Now I have a whole Warhammer 40K table worth of terrain that came from one box set that I cut, assembled, textured, primed, and dry brushed in like 3 to 4 hours, I think it was.
Wow.
I might have let the primer dry overnight, and I came back and did the rest of the painting the next day. But dry brushing doesn't take that long, and I still use it to this day. It's a great set. It's a lot of fun. Highly urge people that if they are interested at all in terrain and terrain building to go give that set a try.
Yeah, it's definitely been an eye opener. And it's just the amount of stuff that comes in there as well. Again, a ton of paints. You've got 2 big pots as well. I think there's ground and dungeon, which
Yes.
So you can
Cavern and dungeon.
Yeah, it's not going to be a small pot. It's going to be big pots of paint. So
it's 50 ml bottles. There are some 18 ml bottles for the effects and highlights, and they're all appropriately named. But for the base, that first highlight that you want to apply to your primed piece, it's in a 50 ml bottle. All of those are hand poured, believe it or not, the old style way.
So there's a couple of bits that I want to pick up on as well. So one is a conversation. 2, the other thing, you will not agree with me at all, but we'll come to part 2 anyway. So we'll start with this one. Where is it? Now, when I did the unboxing of this set that we're doing now, I found this. This is the grey undercoat, and it says effect. What is this? Because I went into a whole rant about what is this? Is this new?
We have an effects range, and it's a sub range from the war paints, just like quick shades and metallics are a part of the war paints range, but they have black lids and you can see it here. So for anybody that doesn't know, the white lids are acrylic war paints. Red lids are quick shade washes.
Yep.
Black lids are metallics. Gold lids, airbrush.
Ooh.
Silver lids, speed paint. So that's just a quick reference point and it makes things easier for retailers. Believe it or not, that's something that they really love because it makes things easier for them when they're restocking and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Within the war paints range, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 effects paints, and then we have a colored metallic that is considered an effects paints. That's the fairy dust. It's the pigmentless metallic.
Gotcha.
And then we have disgusting slime, which is a glossy putrid green color. We have dry mud. Wet mud, which is a glossy muddy color. It's great for basing. We have dry rust, which is a very, very matte orange.
Yep.
And then we have glistening blood, which is a very, very glossy red. And then we have our brush on gray primer, which is the same color as the gray undercoat. So we lump that in as one of the effects paints because it's not a standard war paint. It's a primer.
Yeah, that's what I primed mine with for today. So when you say obviously the same as the brush on primer and the grey undercoat, I noticed that obviously all of the paints that come in this set, like the Mermaid Turquoise, the Worm Purple, all have new names compared to what's already in the range that's out there. So are these new mixes for the army paints to then have added in, or are these renamed paints from the original lineup?
So this is a touchy topic, but there is a reason why we do this. These are renamed paints from the Army Painter range. And one of the things that makes Army Painter, I think, a really great solution for like retailers and for people that are new to gaming and painting is that we aren't tied to a single game system.
Yep.
So the names make sense. When you go to a paint brand that might be from a certain game company or that works with the paint system, the name might not make any sense to you because you've never read a book or played a game in that universe. Where Wormling Red makes a lot of sense. You know, it's pretty simple. It's somewhat generic, and there's beauty in being generic. Now, with Game Master, we can have a little bit of fun because we want to target RPG players. So that's where you start to see, names like Lawful White, Worm Purple, Neutral Red.
Yeah.
So they mean something to people that are used to playing D&D and RPG games. But the nice thing about it is that when you run out of that 12 milliliters of Mermaid Turquoise, if you look right on the side of the bottle, you can go buy 18 mils of Hydra Turquoise from the War Paints rack. That makes retailers really happy because they've got this nice little station. It's a nice solution for them. And then people that buy into the set, you don't, just because you won't run out of one color, you don't want to have to go back and buy an entire set of paints again. You can go to the rack and buy that one bottle that you need replaced.
Yeah. The amount of white, black, and skeletal bone that I get through are ones that I have on repeat. That and oak brown. So
I think that you just named the 3 top selling colors in our range.
It's because I get through them. I'm your buyer. It's just me.
Oh, yeah. Skeleton bone it's. I mean, every paint range has its strengths and weaknesses, and there's some shining stars in all of them. Elemental Bolt, Crack, and Skin are 2 of my favorite colors of all time, and they're beautiful colors in this range. But Skeleton Bone is arguably, and I'm taking my Army Painter hat off and I'm putting my paint fanboy hat back on. Skeleton Bone is arguably one of the best paints to ever be made. I mean, it's so versatile. It's it's that bony dark ivory color. Use it to mix in for highlights. Use it to dry brush over gray for stone effects. Use it to dry brush over brown for wood effects. You could do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So obviously, like in this set, it's called Ancient Bone, but like when that came out, and I compared it to my Skeletal Bone, and I was like, finally, I have some more of that. So I think I ran through one of my pots, like my bigger ones this week, and I'll get through the other one some point soon as well, because I dry brush it over stone because it's that just off white that it gives it that ancient look, but then it's also great for I'll start on oak bone and then use it to dry brush over that from any dry bones that I'm doing. Like I did a massive skeletal dragon, and the most of it was dry brushing from skeletal bone, and it's probably one of my favorite paints along with the Hydra turquoise.
Hydra is a fan favorite. It is a really good color. My Chaos Space Marine army is heavily reliant upon Hydra turquoise, while my Loyalist Space Marine army is heavily reliant on Elemental Bolt.
Nice. Yeah, I find the Hydra turquoise, I think, because I had the mega paint set before it was in there, because it came out as I bought a second set of it once mine started running out, because I was like, I may as well buy the whole range again because I mostly use Army Painter, and it came with 5 new colors, and the Pixie Pink and the Hydra turquoise were exactly what I was after.
That's awesome. Pixie Pink's we for those that don't know, we have revisited the color primer range, and Bo, being the wild man that he is, our owner, he wanted to open it up to a vote to the public to let them decide what colors we would add into the range. And we talked him out of that because everybody voted for Pixie Pink, and we would have sold 2 of them. But we do have a limited run of Pixie Pink available for pre-order for those that do want Pixie Pink color primer.
I wish I had the reason to spend the money on that, and I'm going to, but I wish I had the reason to.
We'll make one.
Oh, I'll find one.
I see a lot of elves, like pink elf armies when I go to tournaments.
Yeah, same with Tyranids.
Well,
those bright colors for especially sci-fi stuff I find is amazing. Like I did I think I 3D printed a Loot Studios spaceship, and I was like, finally spaceships, and I love printing stuff like that. I was like, do you know what I can do, because I'm not tied down to fantasy lore colors, and I just started whacking pink on everything and Hydra turquoise on everything, and I had the best time.
It's very 90s is pink turquoise.
It's it's really cool because I think it was Warlock Purple was the other one that was closest to it before the Pixie Pink came out, and I just found that the hot pink of the Pixie at the time was exactly what I was after.
I love when I do these streams because I'm just I don't have anything really in mind with what I want the finished miniature to look like, and they always come together really, surprisingly okay. Like when we were painting the Broodsire from Epic Encounters 2 weeks ago, I had no idea what that was going to look like when we were done. And I'm still very happy with where I ended up after 2 hours or however long we were sat up together. Am I going to win any awards with it? No. But am I happy with it? Heck yeah.
Oh, I definitely don't paint to win awards. I like just having fun.
Have you ever entered a competition, Ian?
Yeah, I did actually. There was somebody again on Instagram, and I was like, only just really.
That's why he doesn't enter awards anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. But I got like overconfident with it. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to enter it because it'll push me to be better, and maybe I want to be a better painter rather than just table ready. And it was a enter any WizKids mini as your competition entry, basically. And I was like, do you know what is a WizKids mini? And it says it on the box, the falling star. So I entered the huge boat that's behind me, and I bit off way more than I could chew. And I really should have focused on just doing a small miniature. And since then, I was like, you know what? That wasn't fun. I was like really trying to work towards trying to paint for somebody else rather than myself. So since then, I've been like, no, I'm just going to paint for me and for my players at the table.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
That's what I get the most enjoyment out of. So I think that
I agree with that. I think as an always DM, now that I've got into painting, because I used to just buy minis and they'd be unpainted. As we say, you put a piece of grey plastic on the table. People go, ooh, because there's the monster. But now I'm getting into painting, and I'm slowly starting to paint bigger ones.
Yeah.
Much more enjoyment out of it, and just seeing everyone's faces as well. And the best thing is when you get the same mini, but you paint them differently, so different skin colors, or the weapons or whatever, slightly different colors, or you might paint one with blood on the weapon, or like black blades with blood dripping.
Yeah.
People don't go, I hit that one anymore. They just go, I'll go for him, the blue one, the blue skin demon. Like, okay, yeah, wow, that's much easier, much better. Yeah, definitely agree with that. I think the idea of like painting the same mini in different, especially skin tones. So like I have a few of the same like Axemen, and I'm like, okay, one of them's now painted green, so he's an orc. The other two are humans, and then I'll change it up so that like you can basically throw down the same minis because same weapons for bandits and stuff, but have like, okay, this one's the orc, this one's the elf, and I like that a lot. I think it's a fun way of painting. And you get to try different color palettes out and work out where your comfort zone is. Yeah. So I have I'm not going to say finished, but I finished the first coat. I haven't done any wash yet. This is my ranger. Got nice. What I do like is there is a nice little bit of colour everywhere. We've got metallic armour on there. We've got some blacks. We've got some silver.
I don't have to vote for anybody this time because there's only 3 of us, right?
Yeah, all you can do. I have a gold star on standby if required. But again, these are, for those of you who may have joined late, here's some of the minis there.
I'll do you a compromise, Dave.
Yep.
I will let Adam give you the gold star. And
no, that's you can't just say, I'll hand it over.
No, I said there's a deal. I'm not just going to hand it over.
Now I'm going to give it to him because you just assumed that you were going to get it.
No, not at all. In fact, watching Dave's progression over the past several months with this has been really impressive, to be honest. However, if you give Dave the gold star, I'll put a big smear line across this one, and I'll just take the consolation prize of a range of army painter paints. That's fine, cool. Cheers, Adam. Thank you. Really kind.
I love how that worked out for you.
Oh, you know what? I didn't want it to go that way, but it's. I really wanted that gold star, but I'll take the hit.
Too funny. I'm gonna vote for myself.
Hagley shouting out, "Looking good, Dave." Yeah, I know, but what about the mini?
Wait, didn't he just get done saying that he doesn't like painting competitions?
Yeah. This is the brush off. This is the brush off. Yeah. Also,
Sorry.
a shout out to Byte. I'm not sure. So, if anyone is familiar with what we do, apologies if you knew, but I am terrible at people's call signs on these things. So it says Byte. It doesn't say Bite Me. It says Byte MK0. So thank you very much for following.
You sure it doesn't say bite me?
I don't think so. I have got a lot of them wrong in the past. But hey ho, live and learn.
Aaron Stohan, been in lurk mode all evening. I'm working.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Just happy people are here.
If you have questions for Adam on these product ranges, do shout out.
Please. I need to take a break from painting and I need to talk. So
Yeah. Oh, here's the other thing I thought of. Here's the other thing. So this is to do with you talking. So
okay.
I was listening to his tutorials because, again, here's a plug. So in this box set, you also get a little pamphlet of how to paint the characters. Okay, so this comes in the box set. Now on the back, and on the back of the box itself, there are these little QR codes. You go there, you scan it. It will take you directly to the YouTube video of how to paint. Now, here's the weird thing. Not the weird thing, but I don't think that Adam's going to agree. Now, I was listening to these videos, and I had it on the computer without headphones, just listening. And my wife comes in the room, and she goes, "Are you watching This Is Wrexham without me?" And I was like, "What are you on about?" I said, "No, I'm watching Army Paint. I'm learning how to paint." She goes, "No, is Ryan Reynolds there?" I'm like, "No." She goes, "Whoever that talking now, that's Ryan Reynolds." I was like, "No, it's not. This is Adam."
Well, he's not. I can't even say that. I was going to say all Americans sound the same, but he's Canadian.
He's Canadian. But it was the pitch. I was like, okay, I see what you mean now. But yeah, she came in from another room thinking I was watching Ryan Reynolds without her. So there you go. There's something in your voice.
Somebody had mentioned that once before, and I think that they are. No offense to your wife for thinking that I was Ryan Reynolds, but something's obviously wrong with anybody that thinks that I look or sound like him, because he is the most awesome person in the world.
But you need to swear more.
Well, I swear all the time. I can't. I have to be careful with my swear usage when I'm representing the Army painter.
That is true.
So me asking you what swear word is no go then.
What's that?
Me asking your favorite swear word then is a no go.
Oh, I mean, I could tell you. Well, it's not one that I can use because it's one that my friends in Australia love to use. That there's an old saying about this word that it's the funniest sounding word. I took a comedy writing course when I was in at university, when I was in college, and it talked about the phonetics of the English language and how that makes certain words more humorous than others. There's a reason why the F word is so funny, is because it ends in a hard consonant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have plenty of favorite swear words. Yeah. You mentioned Welcome to Wrexham.
Yep.
My new favorite television show.
It is amazing, isn't it? It is brilliant.
Well, I'm already a fan of Ryan Reynolds, because who's not nowadays? And Rob McElhenney, he's from Philadelphia. I'm from Philadelphia. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The idea of two people that are kind of bystander soccer football fans, going and buying a club and trying to resurrect it, because it is, to us in the States, I mean, granted, like I like watching football, soccer. I love seeing some of the teams, watching the Premier League for a long time. We'd watch Tottenham Hotspur play at my friend's house. It's hard to do here because at least 10 years ago, because they weren't always on, or they were on late at night, and now we have streaming, yada yada yada. But we don't know how the Premier League works. We don't know how the Championship League works. And until when you actually find out that teams can get relegated and promoted, it's kind of amazing, because like what if that actually happened to the NFL and American football, or what if that happened to Major League Baseball? And all of a sudden, these farm teams like the Scranton Phillies replace the Philadelphia Phillies because they're playing better. Like it's such a cool concept.
I can imagine that in 10, 20 years time from now, if Wrexham is a success and they win, for example, the FA Cup final, you're gonna have this biggest movie underdog story ever, where you got two
Yeah.
Hollywood actors by a relegated football team in another country, and they win.
Well, and you know what? What I like about the show is that, yeah, sometimes they take the piss a little bit, and
Yeah.
but they are trying to be educational about you know, what Wales is like,
Yeah.
how it's a different culture, it's a different country. There's not a lot known about it. They give you the education that this is basically a poor, blue collar town that lost a lot of industry,
Yep.
and this team is everything to them. You know what I mean? Just like for a lot of us, painting miniatures is everything to us. And if, all of a sudden, miniature companies stop making miniatures and paint companies stop making paint, and you had less to be excited about with this thing that you latch onto that is kind of your hope.
Yep.
What would happen? And that's what you see happening with this club. And I don't know, I love it. And Americans are, at least right now, Americans are primed to start to understand soccer and football a bit more because of Ted Lasso. Fantastic television show. So, welcome to Band of Badgers, where we talk about television, American football, and European football.
See, there you go, Ryan Reynolds. If you ever see this, thinking of you. But come paint, hang out. We'll get Adam on. We can all swear together. We'll teach each other new swear words.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he pretty much knows them all by the end of the Deadpool recordings.
Yeah. Okay, so now I have a question for Adam. I'm going to try and add a wash to this. Is there any kind of technique to do it? You start at the top, work your way down, you slap it on, be gentle, careful.
Before you do that, and it might be my screen a little bit, did you paint the boots black?
I did.
Okay, so I'm gonna make you do something over again before you apply the wash, but it's I promise you it's gonna save you a lot of time and you're gonna like the results better. If you ever plan to apply a wash over something, like black is a great color and you need to have black, but if you plan to apply a wash over something, you're not going to get the effects of wash over a pure black painted item. So one cool thing that you could do is you could take a bit of your white or some of the gray, mix it in there and just paint it a dark gray first. So that would be my, you don't have to do it because you're going to highlight it up anyways if you want to later, but if you want to get the most effect of applying a wash over what you want to be black, paint it a dark gray.
Okay.
But going as to how you're going to apply a wash, I mean, my recommendation, one, if you've got the green and the gold on there, is to use the brown wash that comes in the set.
Yeah, I got it calls it a flesh wash.
Yeah, that's
kind of brown, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the flesh wash has a little bit of red in it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to mix some of the shadow wash, which is a black wash in there, just to bring it back closer to brown, you might want to do that. Flesh wash looks fantastic over gold, by the way. If you want easy looking gold painted miniatures, paint your gold, add flesh wash over top.
Yeah.
Some people like to use green washes as well, but flesh wash is perfect because it brings out that rosy redness that a lot of gold has. When you're applying it, what you want to do is you want to load up your brush, use as big a brush as you got. The starter brush is just fine. And you want to apply it in a top-down fashion. I'll try and illustrate that. Actually, you know what? You know what's perfect to do that on? This unpainted mini right here. Just give me a second. All right, you ready, Dave?
Go ahead.
All right. So I've got my wet palette here. If you don't have a wet palette, I highly recommend it. Keeps your paints nice and workable, flexible, lasts longer. So I've loaded up my brush. Now I got a little bit too much in the bristles. You don't want to do that, but sometimes it happens. It's inevitable, especially when you're painting on stream. Try to avoid getting it in the bristles. And then you're just going to apply it. I like to apply it from the top down. And you want to keep that brush moving the entire time. You don't want it to settle. But as I'm doing this, you can see the way that a wash is designed to work is that it has less surface tension.
Mm-hmm.
So it will run over the highest areas and the details of the miniature, the raised details of the miniature. and the pigments will work themselves into the crevices and the deeper details and recesses of the miniature. And what this does is it takes that, you have a three-dimensional miniature that you paint in a two-dimensional fashion, and it brings back and reinforces the three-dimensionality of that miniature because you're adding shadow to all of the details. A lot of people refer to our quick shade washes as cheating, as painting on easy mode, and I don't disagree. If you just paint your miniatures as a base coat, like Dave just got to in his step, and then apply a wash, your miniature is, in my opinion, is ready for the tabletop. You don't need anything else unless you want to come back and highlight later, and your miniature is going to look better than 90% of miniatures that are painted in the world today.
Yeah.
That's the Adam Abramowicz guarantee.
I used to start, but like if I had something like a lot to do, and I did it with a Kickstarter I got, which was Nemesis. I basically primed all of the aliens that come with that in white, and then just went around with a wash and just applied a wash to it, and then a dry brush afterwards, and that was it. And it was like 30 minis done in one day, but it was like, that's table ready, and that's absolutely fine. And not once have I had anybody say, you know what, the paint job's just not enough on these, and I'm not immersed in this. So
that's literally never. And again, for the people that are afraid of painting miniatures, that's nobody's ever going to say that looks like crap, or I don't play a game with you because of the way that painted mini looks.
Exactly.
The lowest barrier to entry, just getting some color on that model, is going to make the game more enjoyable. But I'm going to move the wet palette back out of the way, and you can see it now. Granted, this isn't, I haven't primed this model, and paint is not meant to go over unprimed miniatures. But what this does illustrate is how the wash works, because just that gray miniature is now, you're starting to see some of those details are more pronounced. They're more visible. Now, what you want to do after you apply the wash to your miniature, because the tendency of a wash is to work with gravity, it'll run lower on the miniature. That's why you work from a top-down fashion. It will pool in some areas, and you can see what I mean by that is that it's just pooling up. Now, you can leave that if you want, and if you plan on coming back and highlighting later, you can fix that just with your base color, and you're highlighted up right then. But just take a wet brush, rinse your brush off, dry it off real quickly, and then you take your bristles and you soak up some of the excess, just like I'm doing there. Wipe it off on a paper towel. There you go. Rinse it, clean your brush, and you just go back, and now you're just soaking up some of the excess. Most people don't go back and do this step, and that's okay. Like I said, especially if you're planning on highlighting over it. But it takes a couple seconds just to make it look that much better. Fluffy cat poof. Listening to you guys is like therapy. I love the random side topics.
Well, make sure you come back, because we fixed Star Wars a few weeks back.
You don't want to get me started. You get a painter extrovert that has ADHD. I can go on for days.
Well, now, not that I was the instigator in this conversation whatsoever. No, it's it's been. I think me and Lair got into it, didn't we, about Star Wars, and it was a long conversation. Not a bad one. I thoroughly.
It was great.
Yeah, it was. But I can talk hours about it. I adore Star Wars. I think I'm married to Star Wars.
I think my phone needs to be readjusted again. There we go. Sorry, y'all.
And it's nice having kids now as well that are into it as well, that I can be like, oh, then this and this and this.
Did they ever go, oh, Dad, Star Wars again?
One of them definitely does. The other one's awful.
Not Baby Yoda.
It's Grogu.
It's Grogu.
You will be outside until you get that right, boy.
My daughter, when we actually just finished building this house at the end of November last year, and my wife is in the Air Force Reserve, so she was on. She had officer training for 2 weeks, so I had the pleasure of moving into the house with my 6-year-old at the time and 6-month-old baby.
Wow.
By myself. It was great. But I took a week off work. Thank you, Army Painter, for letting me take the week off work to do that. I got all the furniture built and moved in and everything organized. I got my studio set up, and at nighttime, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to watch Mandalorian. I haven't watched it yet, and my oldest wanted to watch with me, and she loved it.
Yeah.
And then we took a break, and she wanted to watch it. And we got to the season finale, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a lot of action happening in that season finale, and she had bad dreams for 2 nights.
Oh no!
Oh, really?
She's not ready for all of that adventure yet. So we've had to take a break from Mandalorian. I had to promise her I wouldn't start watching anymore until she was ready.
Well, that's nice of you because I was lucky. My two were very much like, yeah, let's watch this. And actually, my eldest is the one that doesn't necessarily always take to Star Wars, but like they both sat through the Mandalorian like captivated.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it was a story, and it was like Leia said, a whole new thing that we got to experience that wasn't just the Skywalker saga.
Right. No, I thought it was really cool. A very good friend of mine. I went to school for film and video production, and I worked with some very, very talented people. A good friend of mine, Jordan Bloom, went on to executive produce Marvel's MODOK, which is a really funny series with Patton Oswalt. I painted a MODOK miniature from Marvel Crisis Protocol for Patton Oswalt, and I did a tutorial for it, and you can find that on our YouTube. And then another very good friend of mine, John Schwartz, who I always knew was going to just do huge things because he was that kind of guy when we were at university. He was one of the producers for Rogue One and has been working on all of the Star Wars films since, and just very proud of them. And I just think it's so cool. These people, we never talked about Star Wars. We never talked about this stuff. We never talked about, I mean, I lied. Jordan talked about comics a lot, but now we all get to we're grown up and we're pursuing our passions and doing it professionally and at I think a high level. Obviously, I'm working for the Army Painter. I have the best job of all of them. But just very cool. It's a proud moment.
Well, we are nearly out of time. Ian, how are you doing on your mini?
Yeah, I was trying to get some glazing done around the eyes to give them like a glowing red and try and build up on the flames. But we're getting there. Where are you? There you are. So we're trying to get some bright colours in there. That's just weird looking at a different screen.
you got to look that way and opposite over here.
There we go. So yeah, we're trying to get into some different colours and such. Oh, I'm so useless at looking one way and doing another. There we go.
I like the is it silver or white?
Yeah, we've got a white going on with the edging on the cloak
edging. That looks really nice.
Yeah, I like doing.
Just to give everyone it for everyone, there's the that's the mini, and you can see his color scheme now.
Yeah, that's what we've been working on. Just trying to get some glazing going on with the eyes because I wanted to give him some glowy red eyes.
Yeah, it looks very cool.
Thanks. I looking forward to seeing what you guys have got going on.
Cool. Over to you, Adam. You've gone with the dwarf. Here's the unpainted dwarf.
Can we see him? There we go.
Yeah, that looks really nice. Again, really, it's a fantastic pose, and you throw some colour on it, and it looks amazing. But that looks really nice. Is that
the detail on the shield is really cool?
The detail on the shield, yeah.
Different things with it. It's a nice little surprise. Like, oh, that's silver on gold, or you can paint it whatever color you want.
What colour armor have you got there? Have you gone with a gold or?
Yeah, so I was playing around. Like I said, I'm experimenting with some of the new products, but I base coated it in where's it at here? In the Deadly Iron, which is a match to plate mail metal, I believe. Yeah, plate mail metal. And I base coated that over all the metallics, and I basically took a shadow wash over the black or the silver metallics, the plate mail metal metallics.
Yeah.
And I took one of the speed paints that we're working on, mixed it with one of the current ones just to see what I could do with to make it look gold. Trying to figure out if that's a quicker way than just painting it gold and putting a wash on it. But I like how it turned out. Gave it a quick highlight with some silver, and yeah. I think the gold looks really nice when you've got the orange, that nice red beard, and then you've got the turquoise undersuit, thing going on. The gold really bounces and plays well with both of those.
Cool, that's really nice. And what I've done, I've gone for the Ranger. There's the... I've tried to keep the copy colour as per the sheet. So there's the guide. And there's my version.
Oh, nice.
It looks really good.
Yeah,
It looks just like the box art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone with white hair. I'm a big fan of Witcher and white hair and Dritz and everything. So
I actually like that better. Sorry, Thomas, who did the artwork. I like the white better because it just adds a different element to it, a little bit more contrast and interest to it.
yeah, I kept his his cloak all. It's still drying. I've got the wash on there. But kept it all green on the inside and the outside. So I didn't use the brown on the inside.
Yeah, I can still see it's a little bit glossy because you have the wash on there.
Yeah.
For those at home, washes take a little bit longer to dry. We mentioned that they have a reduced surface tension, so it does take a bit longer to dry than a standard acrylic will.
Yeah. But that is nice. And like you said, that this is gold. This is the flesh wash on gold. It's really picking up those like pauldrons. They have raised edges on the shoulder pads there, and you couldn't really see it before. But now that's really picked up just on that edge, and it's kind of got I don't know if you pick it up, but it's kind of like got rib plates.
Yeah.
And just after putting that wash on there, that's really picked it up. It looks so nice.
That's a low key, tech is flesh wash over gold. They both look fantastic, y'all.
That is.
You did the fire and the palm, and then kind of the ice and on the stave. It looks really great.
So if it just happens, if there was a gold star, which ding just appeared on the screen there, if that gold star just happened to be floating around the screen as it is right now,
Can I give 2 silver stars? I can't give it 2 silver stars?
No. We've got 1 gold star ready to go.
Can I give it to Building Dave?
Building Dave.
Can I give it to Building Dave?
Yeah, he's been building all night long.
And that'd be a great marketing story that I picked Building Dave because he show off all show long. How. But no, actually, Dave, I'm going to give it to you, and here's why. Ian, yours is fantastic. I actually really love the contrast that you brought to the table with the blue and the fire. I think it looks really cool. Ian, Dave, the reason why I think I'm going to go with you is because you stuck to the artwork, but I think you actually improved on the artwork a little bit with the white hair. I think that's a really nice touch.
Cool.
I agree.
I like that.
And you also listened to me when I told you to use the flesh wash over the
Yeah,
face.
well, yeah. Again, so the best thing I did with this whole kind of brush off show is to get pro painters on, because if you're going to learn from people, you may as well learn from the best who are out there. So they've been doing it, they know how to do it. That's the best thing that's the best possible thing we can do. Now, everyone, we are Ian is still. Oh, he switched over. There you go.
There you go.
Are you paintbrushes down now, Ian?
I am. Once
Right.
this is over, I'm going to finish it off.
Cool. Right, I am going to. I will turn that one. I pause that one. You will see that those hands are now paused. Adam, once again, thank you very much for joining us. It is always an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you. I hope it wasn't too bad.
Bad. I had a great time.
Good. Well, we've referred you. We compared you as Ryan Reynolds.
I can't get that. I mean, I'm going to fly high for at least the rest of the weekend. So.
You need to swear now.
Second we hang up.
Fuck that shit. Fantastic, Ian. How was it co-hosting?
Yeah, that was really fun. I think that I actually got a lot of information that I wanted about these sets from Adam, but I would have been asking if I was in chat anyway. So
Yeah,
being here for this was
we just lost
really
the
fun.
phone. we just lost one of the phones, I think.
All right, I just unplugged mine. That was me.
Yeah, the screen's gone all funny.
Oh no!
So-
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
It
But
was an accident.
on that note, we're off, everybody.
Hi. Sorry.
There he is. Until next time,
I
everyone.
didn't mean to.
We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.
armypainter.com.
See you then.